So I also just wanted to say here at the beginning that if you're new to my channel, I often just talk a lot. Like, there's not exactly necessarily anything super exciting going on, at least not in these kinds of episodes. So if you just want to put me on the background of whatever you're doing, that is what I recommend. All right, let's get started. Welcome back to the show. My name is Kaylina and this is the Fox's Hideaway, and we are doing Gemini part 2 today. So let's get started. Alright, so this is a bunch of just general stuff on Gemini, so keep in mind that even if you are a Gemini, your map, like I've said a billion times in my other astrology videos, is going to be a makeup of a lot of different things. So, but the sun is kind of who you kind of are, and it's like your life energy. So here we go. Gemini, and this is literally just a bunch of words going down the stream. So they're many-sided, they're quick in thought and action, clever with words, skillful when handling other people, intelligent, adaptable, good with communication, endlessly curious, have a sense of duality to them, more than one of everything, including jobs, hobbies, careers, and sometimes even lovers. So, yeah. Restless, always looking for new ideas as well as just fresh experiences in life. Need a constant change in scenery. Can leave a trail of unfinished tasks in their wake. And honestly, I find that tends to be an error thing in general. They get caught up in a lot of different things, but a lot of things don't ever get finished. You have the power of persuasion, know a little bit about a lot of things, firm opinions on everything, very independent, can lack perseverance at times, make a great first impression on people. You have gifts involving self-expression, writing and speaking. You get along with lots of different kinds of people, which is an amazing trait. You're very amusing and witty. You make a great friend. You have great enthusiasm. You can be a bit impatient at times, and you're usually surrounded by lots and lots of friends. You don't like to get too involved with other people's problems though, and you can have a bit of a brooding side. Try not to let anything or anyone damper your high spirits, which, hey, I don't blame you for doing that. Honestly, there's only so much of that negativity that you can really take in any given day, time, or week. You attract financial luck, but you also really like to spend. So you don't love routine. You long for freedom the most. You enjoy exploring new territories. You're very imaginative and open-minded. The inner you can be a bit nervous at times, and you tend to be like a wound-up spring. You're very giving, but you do need some time for yourself, which honestly, who doesn't? So if you're a Gemini woman, your love language is going to be a bit casual, equal parts friends as well as equal parts passion, a little bit of a challenge to figure out, needs love and security. You don't mind being coddled, catered for, and looked after, needs stimulation and diversity. Half the people they meet won't even be worth their time, can come across a bit heartless, endless sexual curiosity. Willing to experiment, sometimes too much of a physical, reasoning rather than emotional. They can be restless and changeable, not always satisfied with just one person, must satisfy on mental, emotional, and sexual planes. She's very devoted companion though, and faithful if you can check all the right boxes. Don't always take what they say at face value. They can become possessive and even sometimes jealous at times, and they are very vibrant and brilliant. Gemini men are going to be like the world's best date. They're very quick-witted, they're charming, they're interested in what their companion has to say. What a novel concept for men these days. They're generous and imaginative, has a zest for living. Don't try to pin him down. He loves women. Don't bother getting super serious, because after that they're probably just going to possibly maybe disappear. I'm not saying this is maybe every Gemini man, but They do have the tendency to do this. They get a little too uneasy when their partner gets too like emotionally intense, has a flair for like assurance, and may not be fully committed. His attention is pulled in many different directions, and romance will be intriguing, but the odds of it making it through like super rough spots, maybe not gonna happen. Now I can't like speak for every Gemini. I can't even, like, every person is gonna be different, especially if you look at like where your Venus is, which is all about love and kind of, you know, the relationships, and even Libra too. Like, see where Libra is and like your different positioning, because they're very good with like connection and stuff as well as like your moon, because your moon is all about emotions and stuff. So if you've got kind of like a more in-tuned emotional moon, then that might change it up as well. So lots of different things to look into, and with every zodiac sign, there are good things about them, and there are some maybe things that we need to work on. So, and that goes for every single sign. So don't get like disheartened or offended if, you know, in Gemini it says that you kind of jump from person to person. I'm not meant to like offend anybody here. Next, we've got Moon in Gemini. So if your Moon is in Gemini, you're going to have a lot of good traits: versatile, witty, charming, lively, and amusing. Your darker traits could be that you're a bit disorganized, a little inconsistent, can be superficial, a bit cunning and manipulative at times, becomes more mutable and erratic, flighty, what word was I trying to say there? Frenetic, and a bit frivolous. Active mind and imaginative, and a very like creative personality, which is lovely. Intellectual pursuits, you get a lot of sensory impressions. You're a very fast learner. You could have a higher IQ than some. Excellent critic, great personal charm. Conversations tend to run off on a lot of different tangents, which is always a good time. Restless, needs plenty of stimulation, and you make it a goal to get out among people each day, which, man, I wish I could be more like you in that way, and like actually wanting to socialize with people. I mean, I do and I don't. Like, it's this constant tug of war of really wanting to get to know people and like creating, I guess it's more the fact that I want to create meaningful connection, which in today's day and age seems really hard for some reason. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, or maybe I just come across unfriendly. I'm not really sure, but okay. Moon Geminis are also impressionable. They're very good at being writers, teachers, and journalists. They're always mentally addressing what you're feeling. You can't really count on a like firm conviction. Like, they do not like making final decisions. They can be very free-spirited, and they can struggle to retain independence sometimes. Like someone who is a challenge to figure out. High-strung irritability and snappishness at times. Amusing, great sense of humor. Most of the time a delight to be with. You lose interest rather quickly in things though. You thrive on travel and change. You're very versatile. You don't like making final decisions like I mentioned, and you need a strong, decisive partner to balance out kind of your air that makes up you. So a Gemini ascendant, that is going to be someone in constant motion. They need change and variety, can be both happy and yet somehow upset at the same time. They know how to use words to say exactly what they mean, well-informed, witty, and mentally quick. They're good in acting, writing, anything in the entertainment business, TV, journaling, and the literary world. They have a very excitable nature. You throw yourself into everything that you do, and then you tend to worry about how it's all going to turn out. You're very mental rather than emotional, can be a bit egotistical, and you like different situations and different kinds of people. It is likely you will travel and change your residency or your career at least once in your life. Small, sharp features, twinkling eyes filled with humor, a friendly smile, graceful arms and hands, a quickness and agility, and you hold your youth into old age, which who doesn't want that? Mercury is the planet that rules over you, so you have very high intellect, acute perceptions, cleverness, talent in speaking and writing, a potential flair for foreign languages, encourages it can encourage arrogance, sarcasm, snobbiness, cynicism, and disorganization. Which, honestly, I'm not really sure why sarcasm is always put in like the bad category, because if you understand sarcasm, we're gonna be friends, because that's the best way to, it doesn't always have to be a negative thing. I know they always say, and I think I've mentioned it before, that everything sarcasm has like a bit of truth to it, and usually it's like a hurtful kind of saying, but it doesn't always have to be like that. Sometimes we're just like playing around and we're just messing with you. And if we know we can mess with you, then it knows that we can, bond closer. So it's not always a bad thing, or not always meant to be a bad thing. So then we have Mercury and Gemini. So these people can be a bit hard to pin down. They can change their opinions very quickly. They are quick and versatile, interested in the world at large. They live on the mental plane. You must have facts and information, good at languages, math, and love to read, study, travel, and chat with new people. Their grasp of knowledge is a bit superficial. Like before, you know a lot of things about a lot of things, or a little about a lot of things, sorry, but not always the other way around. You don't always stick with things. You have an infectious good humor. Venus and Gemini, you like to have an intellectual rapport before having affections with someone. Light-hearted attitude towards love. Intense, heavy emotional commitments aren't really your thing. A relationship can't be the only thing on your mind. Inconstancy sometimes causes issues in like the marriage world, and Venus is very flirty in this placement in Gemini, and it also doesn't mind spending money. Mars in Gemini is going to be a very energetic mind, full of activity, very intellectual, kind of like a steel trap sort, practical, incisive, lack of will, and a bit hesitant sometimes. Love always has to have a flare of excitement. If it becomes too dull, you are looking for the escape hatch. Jupiter in Gemini. This makes for a very adventurous person. Money opportunities usually come to you through the very many different friends that you have. And your best case for like success is any areas in like intellectual, as far as like teaching, lecturing, diplomatic careers, and law. You may also do well in the airline industry, although I do not recommend that right now because doors don't even stay on. So maybe areas that keep you on the ground, like publishing and magazine writing, TV reporting, or commentating and acting. A change in career is almost certain at some point in your life. Luckiest time of the year is when the sun is in the signs of the air, which would be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Saturn in Gemini. So Saturn in Gemini can sometimes have a difficult childhood when they're young, and they can feel like maybe they're a little bit lonely, and they can also maybe sometimes have a hard time getting like an education. Later in life, they may have issues involving travel and problems in the chest and the lung area. Now keep in mind, as we get into the outer planets, those like affect you, like they're deeper meaning. So they're not as like superficial day-to-day stuff. They're going to expand out into longer periods of time. So that's why you kind of get a change once you start hitting those outer rings. So Uranus in Gemini energy is forceful in mental pursuits, and you enjoy offbeat ideas, interested in psychic phenomenon and anything that is an unexplained event. You also want to maybe at some point create something very striking and stunning that really makes an impression on the world. In everyday life, you are original and very captivating. You have an aptitude for music, you enjoy traveling, and then you once again have a potential knack for foreign languages. Neptune in Gemini is a mental genius in a sense, imagination and creativity, magnetic ability to express themselves, create a lasting impression on the public, gives new inventions in science and mechanics, resourceful, versatile, and very perceptive, attracts interesting people and impractical ideas. And then lastly, you've got Pluto and Gemini. So when Pluto and Gemini, it gives its natives inventive and restless minds that seek to change and create freedom from old restrictions. All right, and then this next section, I'm going to go over like the houses that are ruled by Mercury and like what that means. So I'll be right back. Okay, so you've got your first house, which is House of Self. So if you have Mercury in this area, you are mentally alert, inquisitive, and humorous, need intellectual challenge. You like to travel and enjoy talking to people, known as an idea person, good mimic, adaptable, active, good at writing and speaking. Your bad points could be that you're restless, indecisive, think too much about yourself. Next, you have your second house, which is all about the house of possessions. So if your Mercury lies here, you're able to earn money in an intellectual enterprises such as writing, teaching, lecturing, or in any field of communications. You like to spend money on travel and education or for gadgets that make your life easier. Sometimes you have more than one source of income. You have a quick mind for financial opportunity, good bargaining skills, talent for salesmanship. Your bad points could be carelessness with money, impractical, vulnerable to trickery and theft. Your third house of communications. This is going to be alert manner, a versatile in handling both people and projects. You're very practical, efficient at coping with details, drawn to your wit and humor and your eloquence in expressing yourself. Good points are all about being curious and logical, intelligent and sociable. Bad points, you can be nervous, a bit of a warrior, indecisive, and quarrel with relatives. Which, honestly, who doesn't quarrel with a relative, to be honest? There's always that one family member that you're like, I wish you just didn't come to the family functions. Anywho, House of Home is your fourth house. And in Mercury, it's about your home is often a place of study or work. Changes in your residency, your parents, and early home life stimulate your curiosity to learn. In your later years, you can expect to be mentally active and to have many contacts throughout the world. You deal rationally with family, and as a parent, your bad points are restlessness and difficulty in settling down. And that's like separate from the parent thing. Like, you're not a bad parent if you have those things. Like, just to make that clear. Your fifth house is the house of creativity and sex. So in Mercury, you like change and new people, number of love affairs in your life, dramatic way of expressing yourself, possesses artistic talent, flair for communicating with the public, and you can be a bit overcritical with loved ones. But you also can see that you can see that in general, actually, funny enough, with the other Earth ones. So, and not even that, but with like Libra too. Libra, Taurus, Virgo, we can all be a little bit tough on our loved ones. Like, we kind of expect just absolute perfection, which isn't a thing that actually exists. But in our little minds, we, for some reason, expect that out of our peeps. So, sixth house is involving service and health. So in this Mercury, you're a bit of a perfectionist. You take an interest in health, diet, hygiene. You're well informed about the latest on the subjects. Tendency to be a bit nervous, and you may have respiratory or stomach problems. You're very practical and efficient, and a worrier about health and work. Seventh house is your house of marriage and partnership. So Mercury here, you seek intellectual compatibility in marriage and partnership. You'll probably marry someone lively and talkative. Business partnerships in law, literary, or communications world are beneficial. Sociable, adaptable. Bad points could be that you stress in relationships because of quarrels and arguments. But honestly, that is literally any relationship that you could get in. There's never going to not be times where you might disagree with somebody. But, like I always say, communication. Please, for the love of God, talk to people. Let them know what's going on in your head. That way you can resolve things faster and not just rump in a corner and wonder why, you aren't connecting with people. 8th house, house of death and regeneration. It's also about like legacies. So your Mercury is penetrating mind, talent for research and analysis, comes to you through other people or a marriage partner, but there may be insurance or legal problems. Ability to see into human motivation, and Mesa for the early death of a relative. I never like when they put that kind of stuff in there because I'm like, then you just like worry about that shit, you know? Like don't tell me that. This is why I don't like palm reading. It's too like negative, and it's like, oh, you are going to for sure have these travesties in your life, and you're like, great, looking forward to the future. Thanks for that. 8th house and Mercury. Jeez. 9th house is the house of mental exploration. So this makes you very alert and adaptable. You're quick to establish rapport with new people, exploratory nature, interested in gaining further knowledge. During your middle years, you may travel a great deal, both for health and your work. You're very mentally advanced and inclined to be meddlesome and to make promises too readily. Well, who doesn't like being a little meddlesome in life? Life wouldn't be fun if you didn't meddle a little bit. Your 10th house is your house of career. And so this is about you use facts like profitably, and your career should be intellectually stimulating. Travel is frequently involved with your work, and success dealing with persons in authority. Your bad points are unforeseen disruptions or uncertainty in a career. 11th house is house of hopes and wishes, and also of friends. So if your Mercury is here, guess what? You're going to have a large amount of acquaintances because you are really, really good at communication, and you're really, really good at meeting people and getting to know them. Friendships tend to be based on an intellectual rapport. You are socially minded, and you usually become involved with groups, clubs, and societies. Clever at thinking of ways to achieve your goals. Bad points could be inclined to be impractical and or cynical. And lastly, you've got your 12th house, which is kind of all the secrets and sorrows and potentially self-undoing. Mercury here is going to be contemplative, self-absorbed, an insightful thinker who works things out for yourself, alone or in secret. You worry over trifles, and you can be very shy here. An instinctive researcher or investigator. Your bad point is you could be vulnerable to slander. So that is all the houses in Mercury, and that is going to conclude our video for today. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, yada yada yada, all that fun stuff. And I will see you next time for another video. As always, stay kind, be curious, and always speak your truth. And I'll see you next time for another video. Bye!